So, you're thinking about making a move to or around Washington State, and this little town called Anacortes pops up. Then you start seeing pictures of ferry boats and cute little downtown festivals and orca whales, and oh my gosh, it just looks too good to be true. But is it? Good question, and that's what we're going to explore today. I'm Leah Courage, and I'm a real estate expert here in Anacortes, and that's how it's actually pronounced. And I help buyers buy homes and sellers sell homes here. And today we are covering the vibe of Anacortes, Washington. So as we cover the vibe of this scintillating, not so little town, as I like to call it, you're going to learn what it feels like to live here day to day from someone, me, who has a unique perspective, as I was not born here. My husband John and I have lived here for 10 years, but I grew up on Capitol Hill in Seattle, a very urban place. I also lived for almost 7 years in the super rural San Juan Islands. So I've seen both lifestyles. So let's get started. Let's talk about the vibe of Anacortes, Washington. First, let's talk about the size and location of this town. Anacortes is a town of about 17,000 people located on Fidalgo Island in Skagit County in western Washington State. While Fidalgo Island is technically an island, you have two bridges coming to it, so you are not super cut off from the mainland like a lot of other islands. But because we are still an island, it's got an island kind of vibe. When you drive onto Fidalgo Island for the very first time, you do feel like you are a world away and in a special place. So the city of Anacortes has 85% of the population of all of Fidalgo Island living in it, and city limits span around the top third of Fidalgo Island. The town of Anacortes is where all of the action happens. So what's the vibe of downtown like? Well, in a phrase, like I said, it feels like a not so small little town. The downtown has a busy, buzzing feeling to it in general because of a few factors. A, there's a lot of industry here, and B, the ferries that take people to the world-famous San Juan Islands is on the northwest side of the city. So you get a lot of people commuting through Anacortes to get to the ferries. As far as industries here, the town is influenced very heavily by the ocean that surrounds us. We have a super strong maritime industry in this town with a ton of businesses around boat building and boat repair, marine supplies, fisheries and canneries, and of course, we have yacht and boat sales and 6, count them, marinas. So if you're not into being in a maritime-focused town, this is probably not the town for you. Also, we have a ton of small businesses and mom and pop shops here in Anacortes, along with a few larger chains like McDonald's, Big Starbucks, Rite Aid, that kind of thing. But it has a small town vibe. And while the locals here are patrons of some of the bigger chains, because, we have to be, there is a very large emphasis on supporting local businesses also. Speaking of local businesses, let's cover that next. The local businesses are one of my favorite parts of living in this town. And they really do play into the vibe here because people support local businesses here. They love it. You have everything from locally owned hardware stores like Cibo's Hardware to artisanal coffee shops to bookstores and art galleries and great local restaurants, gift shops, and everything in between. The feeling of it being a small town is a huge element of what draws people here. So the pace of life is slower and more casual in Anacortes than what you're going to find being in a big city like Seattle or Bellingham. For example, when people go out to dinner here at any one of the wonderful local restaurants we have, you typically won't see men wearing suits and women wearing dresses and high heels. You'll see what I like to call Pacific Northwest chic. It's kind of like blending work attire and outdoor wear. Think slacks and puffy jackets, maybe jeans and a nice shirt if you're lucky. But you're not going to find designer. You won't see stuffy and super formal for the most part, every once in a while, but usually not. It'll be very casual, but it will be nice enough. This is a very common trend, by the way, in the Pacific Northwest on the whole. So if you happen to be moving here from another state, be aware that Western Washington is pretty casual. Let's talk about Anacortesians now. By and large, people are pretty darn friendly here. I would say they're significantly friendlier here than in the big cities in the Pacific Northwest. Comes back to that laid back, kind of casual island feeling. And being an outsider, I've observed that there really are two main groups of people here. Born and raised locals who've lived here all their lives and they have their longtime friends and lots of family close by. And then you have the people who've moved to Anacortes from elsewhere for any number of reasons. After you've lived here long enough, though, you do become a local. But it does take time, it does take effort and involvement. People in Anacortes, as I said, are generally quite friendly, but it's not like, for example, being in a southern state in the U.S. where hospitality is a really big deal. If you want to meet people and get involved with the local community here, you must seek it out and go introduce yourself and get involved in the local community. It doesn't take much to meet people, but you likely won't get the neighbors like pounding on your door and constantly inviting you to their porch for sweet tea or anything along those lines. Pacific Northwesterners tend to be a little bit more reserved and closed off, but if you approach them with warmth and with goodwill, they will return the favor and they will invite you in. Another element of the vibe of this wonderful town that we have is what I consider to be unparalleled natural beauty all around us. Between the sparkling oceans and the forests and the hiking trails and the beaches and the parks and the lakes and the meadows and so much more, Anacortes is just breathtaking. And the natural beauty is a huge component of why people move here and why they stay here long term. It's stunningly beautiful. And there are more parks and hiking trails here per capita than I think just about anywhere else, honestly. So if you're not into the outdoors in some capacity when you move here, you will be. It's a super active community and people love taking advantage of being in the outdoors here. And it's very easy to do with our temperate winters and summers to be outside all year round. Well, it wouldn't be right of me to discuss the vibe of this town if I didn't give a huge shout out to the arts scene here. Anacortes is super artsy. We have hundreds, if not thousands of artists who live here, and it's easy to understand why, as like I said, natural beauty around is wildly inspiring. We have every imaginable artist here, from painters to photographers to sculptors to musicians of all kinds, to dancers to writers and poets to artisanal jewelers and crafters. Naturally, Anacortes has several art galleries and businesses downtown that feature local artists, and we have all kinds of events celebrating the arts all throughout the year, culminating in the world-famous Anacortes Arts Festival, one of the biggest arts festivals in the entire country, which takes place every August and has been running for decades. So if you want an artistic community to live in the Pacific Northwest, you found a very good one in Anacortes. Speaking of festivals, this is a town that loves its events. Throughout the year and primarily from spring through fall, Anacortes is host to dozens of festivals, ranging from things like the Anacortes Waterfront Festival, which celebrates the town's nautical heritage, to fun events like Beer on the Pier, a festival all about, you guessed it, beer. We have the Arts Festival, as I mentioned. We have festivals for kids all throughout the summer, and we have one of my personal favorites, an old-fashioned 4th of July parade. I should mention also that the festivals aren't just for tourism and for outsiders. Locals absolutely love these festivals as well. They bring the downtown to life, and they make the warmer seasons even more exciting and enjoyable for everybody. Finally, I want to talk about safety. As the world gets increasingly dangerous, Anacortes, in my opinion, is one of these very special, rare places where crime is low, where kids play on the street without parents being overly concerned, and where people can walk around downtown at night without worrying about being harmed or mugged or anything of the like, and where you just feel a lot more safe than being in the big cities. So in Anacortes, we trade the hustle and bustle of busy city life and having every imaginable thing at your fingertips for a smaller, friendlier town, for stunning natural beauty, and for an involved community full of residents that truly love their town and have worked and continue to work hard to preserve what makes Fidalgo Island so darn wonderful. There's no such thing as the perfect town, but I have to say, as someone who has seen a lot of places, I can tell you that Anacortes is pretty darn special. Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and comment below. I will respond. And for more Anacortes content and more real estate content, please subscribe to this channel where I put out new videos every week. And if you want the real insider opinion on the local scene, sign up for my free newsletter below, where I go into even more detail on all things Western Washington. If you're thinking of making a move here or selling property locally, please reach out to me. My contact information is below, and I would love to help you achieve your real estate goals. I'm Leah Courage, your local real estate expert here in Western Washington. Keep an eye out for more videos, and I will see you next time.